Hey guys, Carl from Purple Misplaced. Today I'm going to be taking a preview look at River Wild, one of the two new upcoming games hitting Kickstarter soon from designer Steven Aramini and publisher Button Shy Games. This is a combination of designer and publisher that you're definitely familiar with based on his games like Circle the Wagons and the entire Opolis series, Sprawlopolis, Agropolis, Natureopolis, Combopolis, Ultimopolis, and all of the other Opolis stuff that he's done with Danny Devine and Button Shy Games. This one's going to be a solo tile laying game in which you're building a river and trying to sort of create these protected sanctuaries of land within the river, scoring points based on the animals and the scoring conditions that you've managed to contain within those territories. Disclaimer, this is a prototype copy of the game, which means that I was given early access to it by the publisher, but as always, I will do my best to offer my own honest opinions on what I think and how I feel about the game. With that said, let's head down to the table to see how it's played, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. Before we get into gameplay, there are a few things that I want to mention. First off, I do apologize, the camera is pretty far zoomed out today, but that's because this game is a very vertical game and I did kind of need all of the space that I could use for this game. So I do apologize if things are a little small on screen, but I'll do my best as I place things and show things to give you close-ups on the camera. Now, the other thing that I do want to say is that this is a PNP or print and play prototype copy of the game that I made myself. So everything is just sort of printer paper, cards, sandwiched with a regular card in between them in a sleeve. And what that means is the sleeve might catch the light as we're playing. So I do apologize for any glare, but that's sort of the best that I could do with a print and play copy. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into setup. Setting up River Wild is extremely easy. You're going to start by placing this source card sort of at the top center of the play area. Then you're going to take this score card. You'll see the card shows different scoring thresholds on one side of the card, and the other side is going to be a breakdown of how everything scores at the end of the game. And we can sort of place that off to the side up here as well to refer to as we need to at the end of the game. In fact, just to get it out of the way, I'm just going to stick it down here over here in the corner because we won't really need that for anything until we are finished. And then finally, we're going to take the rest of the river cards, give those a shuffle. And I'll place the deck down here at the bottom left corner of the screen, and we're going to deal out the top 3 cards as our sort of starting hand for play. Now, as I mentioned, this game is going to be growing down quite a bit, so I may need to readjust things as we are playing, but to start, we will go ahead and set up just like that. And with that, we are done set up. So River Wild is going to play out over a series of turns, and on each turn we're going to simply be choosing one of these 3 cards to add to our river. And there are a few placement rules when we're placing out on the board. You'll see that each card has sort of a river at the top and the bottom. Sometimes the river is only on one side of the card, sometimes the river goes across the entire edge of the card, and sometimes the river has a mountain next to it like this. And we're going to be placing the cards such that the river continues downstream to the bottom of the table. We can always place directly below a card. We can place sort of half the river like this so that the river is splitting, but we can never place a card diagonally like this. And we can also never rotate any of the cards in any direction. They always need to be so that the scoring symbols here are normally face up. But on every turn, we're going to need to place a card so that some piece of the river on the card we're placing is adjacent to some piece of the river on the card above it, so that the river is basically flowing down the table. Also, we can never place in such a way like this that a river will hit a piece of land. But if we have a mountain on our card, we can connect a river to a mountain in this way. So this is the only way that a river will ever touch directly to a piece of land if there is a mountain like that in between. Otherwise, placing a river up against a piece of land like this will not be allowed. And we're going to be placing these cards one by one. Every time we place out a card, we will take the top card from the deck and place it in front of us. Which is worth mentioning then that we can see the next card that's coming out of the deck because it is showing on the top of the deck. It's also worth mentioning that while we're placing out, all of these cards are double-sided, And what's going to happen when we flip the card is that the things that are printed on the card are going to be flipping to the opposite side. So over here we have 3 dragon heads, and when I flip it, they come over here. But what that means also is that the river here starts from the right to the left, and if I flip it, goes from the left to the right. So it's basically a mirror image of what's on the other side of the card, and that's going to be really helpful for us as we place things out in our river. So what is the goal? The main goal of this game is we're going to be building what are called protected valleys. We basically want to be placing or creating fully enclosed pieces of land inside the river. So say, for example, I place this card like this, and then I placed this card like that. You can see here now that we have a fully formed piece of land in the center of that river. And for every fully formed piece of land we have at the end of the game, we will be scoring 2 points. But in addition, we're going to be looking at these scoring patterns. And let me show you an example here. This one says that if this is a completed piece of land, means if this is a protected valley, we're going to look at all of the animals in that protected valley. And there are 4 animal types. There's the unicorns, there's the toads, there are these dragons, and then there are these jackalopes. So for example, if we built this protected valley, we're going to be scoring for every pair of unicorns and toads we have inside that protected valley. We will score either 2 or 4 points. Now, what is the difference between the 2 or 4 points? At the end of the game, we're going to look at all of our valleys. And one of those valleys is going to be the largest. And the way we count up the largest is we're going to count the number of cards that make up that piece of land. And the largest island or the largest protected valley is going to score that smaller value, the top value. All of the rest of our valleys, all of the smaller valleys will be scoring the bottom value for all of the scoring conditions. But again, these scoring conditions only score if they're inside of a protected valley. So if that scoring condition is on a piece of land that is not completely surrounded by water, that will not score anything at all at the end of the game. Now, the only other types of land that we haven't seen or types of scoring conditions that we haven't seen that will come out as we play is this each. This each means I need to have one of each of the 4 animal types on that valley. And this any 5 means I can have any 5 animals of any type on that protected valley to score. There's also one more special feature on the cards that we haven't seen yet, and I'm not going to go digging through the deck. It will come out naturally, but sometimes in the river itself, you'll see a little floating runestone. And a runestone is basically going to be a wild animal for every protected valley that is adjacent to the river section containing the runestone. And that wild animal can be a different wild animal for each valley that's adjacent to it. But for an individual valley that's adjacent to it, once a runestone has been assigned an animal, it will only be that animal for that individual protected valley. So with that, that's pretty much all we've got, all of the rules for the game. So let's go ahead and get into gameplay, and hopefully any questions or unsureties will come out as we play the game. So we're starting with these 3 islands. I see a dragon here which could work towards either of these 2 scoring conditions. I see a frog or a toad over here which could work off of that, as could the unicorn. I do want to split this, because if I split this, we'll start building a protected valley in the middle of that split. And then hopefully later we can split again to start making more individual pieces of river, because basically these valleys are going to be existing in between the different sort of tributaries of the river. So I'm going to start with, doesn't really matter, all of the conditions we have. No, this one is the most likely to be a good thing, because we do have a unicorn and a toad. But we also see that there's another dragon coming out here, so potentially that means something. But I'm going to start with a split. Yeah, I'm going to start like that. So we're focused on this unicorn and toad. Now, it's worth mentioning, I didn't mention this at the beginning, is that any of these scoring conditions, if I have more than one set of them on that valley, we will also score them more than once. So if I had 2 unicorns and 2 toads here, we would score that point value twice, and so on. All right, so we take our next card. And I'd like to put a unicorn in there. The problem is I didn't pay too much attention because that's a mistake. If I flip that, that connects there. That's great for this island, but it can't go there because that's land against river. So I need to rethink what it is that I'm doing. And yes, we've already made a mistake. Although, if I play that there, no. Because we can't play upstream, we can only play downstream. That was a big mistake already. Yeah, you know what? It's a little bit cheating, but it's early enough in the game. I don't want to start off completely ruining my game experience. So I am going to instead start off with this dragon like this. Over here. And then we're going to take the other dragon here. Because I can see that I can do this like that. Now we're going to try and aim to get 3 dragons inside that valley. All right, so we get this one here. Oh, okay. So here is one of those runestones I was talking about before. Again, this will count as a wild animal in either of these if they become protected valleys at the end of the game. Then, which of these do I not mind losing? I want to start splitting off again, but the problem is I've got individual things. So I need to find a way to get a wide space at the bottom, and all of these will do that. And I want more dragons here. So either of these two will work well there. The question is, which of these do I not mind losing? The land gives me more flexibility. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Like this. Take that card there. And then I do want to split this one. But I want to play here first. If I flip that, ooh, that works out really nicely. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does anyway. I'm going to play that there. Because now I'm scoring more dragons off of that island, sorry. And remember, a river is fine. No, I can't because that goes off of that river. We can't do that. That won't work. So we need something that comes from the left like that. Which means if I want to split here, I'm going to need a wide top. So we might as well just go ahead then and do that to finish off my dragon island like that. And then, sorry, the cards are a little bit unwieldy with the sleeves on, but that's okay. We're going to do that. So now we do need to start thinking about splitting things off. And I don't have anything that has a Y at the top right now. I need a card like this to go here in the middle to connect to both of those. But that doesn't mean it's not coming soon. So, I want to break off in one direction or another. And I think I'd like to keep... No, I can't. The best I can do is that. That. Any 5 would be nice if I can get 5 animals in there. But that's also possible if we... Yeah? No, let's go a little bit less risky. Yeah, no, I like that any 5. So we're going to do that like that. And take our next card. Wow, still no Y's up top. Means I may have hurt myself a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. I need any 5, and this is a wild. If I can complete... No, they're not going to connect, are they? Let's do that. And I'm going to need a card like that to come in here and see what happens. Come on, please. Nope. I'm doing real great this game. All right, then. Well, I see a dragon coming out here. So I'm going to aim for this. And then, oh, here we go. This is exactly what I needed. I'm going to play this one here, but that's a problem. No, it's not. All right, we'll do that. Then this one comes out, and I need to put that here, like this. I don't know if it's going to be the right option, but it works like that. Means now I've got 1, 2, plus a wild is 3. I need 2 more animals there. This one doesn't score off that, but it will score because it's a completed land mass. I take 1 more card. I need frogs and dragons in here, but I got 1 of something. Then I need 2 more animals here. But that's another Y, which is not going to help me right now. Then we might as well focus on fixing up this right here. We need a frog. Well, I can put a frog there like that. Nope, that puts him on the other side. Ah, but this is great. I got 3 wild animals on that island. So that kind of works. We'll see what happens. Okay. Then another one comes out. Oh, there's a Y. That's 1, 2, 3. Would be 4. We need another somebody there. All right, then if I flip that one, no. If I flip that one, kind of. Hold on, do I want that to happen? Because I'm thinking if this goes here, and I can put this one flipped here, that gets me 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I can finish with something that's got an animal on it. Maybe. I think also no. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that just because it gets me a 4th wild. This island scores me all of those things. Take our next card. Then I have to play this here. But the problem is if I play this way, that's 1, 2, 3, only 4 animals. So I don't score those points. So I'm going to have to play it this way and hope that we can get something here that closes it all off. Well, oh, that's not bad. If I put that there, I get frog and dragon score on that. And this now connects to that island, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 works. I just need to make sure that this closes off before the end. So I can do that. And with my last 2 cards, then I can do... Well, it's not great, but we can do that. And then this last card can go wherever. Oh, actually, let's put it there because then it finishes off that last landmass as well, because we've got double mountains like this. And that is the end of our game. So we go ahead and get into scoring. First things first, we score 2 points for every protected valley that we've got. So I've got 1 here, 2, 3, 4, and this last little one down here that was blocked off by the mountains is 5, so that's 10 points just for valleys. Up here I've got hold on. Clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. This is my biggest protected valley. So here I've got 1, 2, 3 dragons. For that, scores me 6 points. This was a frog with a dragon and a unicorn, so that scores nothing extra. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 animals on that island, so I score any 5 for 4 points. And then dragon and this guy. Dragon and this guy scores, no, sorry. Unicorn and jackalope scores me 2 points. Dragon and frog scores me 2 points. And then 3 jackalopes. Well, we didn't say that these were anything yet except included in any 5, and that could be anything. So if those are both jackalopes, that's 3 jackalopes for 3 more points. There. Down here on this, we've got a jackalope and a frog, but no scoring conditions, so that doesn't score any extra. And over here, I've got a dragon, a toad, a jackalope, and a unicorn, scoring 2 points each, so it doesn't matter what these are, but we've got 4 wild that can be any of those things. So basically, we're scoring all of those once, or any of them 4 times, or so on. But they're all worth 2, so who cares? So 2, 4, 6, 8 points for that one. And that is our total of 35 points. Which, checking our scorecard here, says that we have just barely squeezed into this 3rd level of harmonious habitat, which also happens to be the highest level I've ever hit. So I'm glad to have gotten that on camera. All right, so that's basically it for the game. Normally in a regular review, I take a look at components. Now, because this is a prototype that I printed out myself, I can't really comment on any of that. I don't have the wallet to show you, although I will put a picture right up here of the wallet for this game, which is a fairly sort of standard looking solid colored wallet with the title of the game, but I do like the font choice and how the wild is a wilder font and looks kind of painted on there. The colors are also very nice. So let's talk more about the sort of card art, card design as well. I remember seeing the original prototype for this was a normal river with fish and deer and so on. And somewhere along the line, Button Shy went with the decision to make it this sort of fantasy, weird river wild game or setting. And at first glance, I was kind of disappointed because I did like the sort of more nature look. And I know that in some of the discussion boards on the Button Shy Discord, people had the same feeling that I did. However, now that I've seen the game in front of me on the table, and I've gotten to see the artwork up close, and I've had a chance to look at sort of the texturing and the colors and the sort of creature design in here, I have to say that I do really, really like the look of this game. It's a very sort of 90s skater kind of color palette, very poppy, very colorful. And, you know, me being me, I can't fault it for being purple and pink because that's sort of my thing as well. So I do really like the way that the game looks. All of the iconography is very clear, very easy to understand. All of the creatures are very easy to see and recognize on the cards. Yeah, overall, I really like the design and the art and the look of this game. So meet me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the gameplay itself. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Stephen Aramini is a name that means quite a bit to me, but I've sort of had mixed successes with his other games from Button Shy. I'm a big fan of Circle the Wagons, but ultimately the Opolis series, Sprawlopolis, Agropolis, Naturopolis, didn't really work for me because sort of the way that the cards are designed, and I have a problem sort of parsing the information on the cards and ever sort of making a good decision based on the cards. I always sort of felt like I was picking things at random to play and not really making smart decisions. But I've also enjoyed other games from him, like the bag builder game Groves I had quite a bit of fun with, and I really, really loved his game Flip Town, the roll and write or flip and write game that he put on Kickstarter last year. So this is definitely a designer that I was interested in seeing more from, and I'm always interested in seeing new solos from Buttonshy. So how did this game turn out? Well, good news and bad news. Good news is this game is very easy to set up, very easy to play, plays through very quickly. I enjoy a spatial puzzle game. I've said this many, many times, and I continue to enjoy a spatial puzzle game here. But let's talk a little bit about good and bad. The good is it's a very interesting puzzle about how we're laying down cards to build out these rivers, to sort of build those land spaces within the river, always trying to plan ahead to make sure that you match animals with scoring conditions that they score well on so that you can maximize the points, but also building as many small areas as possible so that you score those 2 points per area that you're scoring, and also trying to get more of your scoring into smaller areas because it's got that unique or interesting twist on scoring that you score more points on the scoring conditions on islands or on territories that are not the biggest ones. So if you put everything into one huge island, you're only scoring 2 points because there's only one space, but also you're only scoring the low scoring condition because that is your biggest space. So you really have to sort of do your best to diversify, making lots of little stuff whenever possible, but also trying to fit as many scoring conditions inside those smaller things rather than the big thing. And that's a really interesting thought process that you're going through. It's always great that you've got a choice of one of 3 cards, but realistically it's kind of like one of 4 cards because you can see the top of the deck to see the card that's coming next. So while you can't instantly play that card, you can definitely play it as a second card, and it does make your decisions a little bit easier when you do have that extra piece of information or that extra card that is coming sort of right behind. And that makes things a little bit nicer to think about. And it really does put forth a very nice sort of scoring puzzle. But the thing that's breaking my brain about this game is it's very, very different than any other game that I've played. And I'm not saying that this is a negative. It just, like I had problems with Sprawlopolis, I have similar problems here, but kind of different. Let me explain what I mean by that. What I mean by that is, there's a puzzle here. I enjoy the scoring condition trying to build piece of the puzzle here. But this idea that I'm always building at angles, and rivers have to touch rivers, and I can never place land to land. I always have to place river to river, and then also potentially connecting land to land. But every turn I place, I have to connect the river. So I'm building these sort of diagonal river pieces in order to somehow build land that fits in the middle. And this is going to be a super positive and a kind of a negative for me, and not really negative because I'm enjoying it more as I play more of this game. But this is a very new spatial thing in my head that I've never really thought about. Most things are sort of grid-based, are sort of squares or polyominoes, or fit together in these nice 90-degree angles. So my brain is very easily able to plan ahead and think, I need this, and then I can slot something in here. But this game doesn't let me do that because I now have to think in these kind of triangle shapes. And some of them are closed, and some of them have a flat bottom that are open either up or down, so I can build these extended pieces. But my brain is not yet accustomed to figuring out how these diagonals fit together to make more than just this tiny diamond. And this tiny diamond is not going to score most of those scoring conditions because most of them require more than one thing to be on that space. And if I have these tiny diamonds everywhere, yes, I'm scoring 2 points for each one, but I'm not scoring a whole lot of other real point, big point scoring conditions. So I've really been struggling to try and figure out how to fit these shapes together or these shapes together to make these bigger pieces. And the fitting together part I'm starting to get a handle of, but the planning ahead kind of piece about what do I need to fit in there and what kinds of, do I need a double river? Do I need a single river? How do I split a big river into multiple things? Because if I have 3 or 4 rivers working down, then I have even more sort of land spaces in between each of those individual sort of tributaries of my river. And it's a really cool puzzle, but but a really new puzzle that really is sort of breaking my brain and making me push in different ways that I haven't tried before. So again, I can't say it's a con because it is a new puzzle, and new means interesting and fun and challenging, but it's also crunching my brain sometimes in ways that I don't feel adequately prepared to deal with. But that doesn't mean I give up. This is one that I enjoy trying because I can see what I need to do. I just don't know how to get there. Whereas in Sprawlopolis, I didn't really see what I needed to do either. So I am very much enjoying this game. I am very much enjoying exploring my way through. I am also looking forward to see future expansions if we do have some cards then that allow me to slot land. Like a lot of these have mountains at the bottom. If there was something that had a similar thing to a mountain at the top that I could slot into a river, that might alleviate some of this weird problem that I have with how these things all fit together. But I am getting better. This is the playthrough you just watched is my highest scoring game yet. And it does continue to get higher and higher. So I am starting to see some of the patterns, and I am enjoying this game more and more as I play. But do understand that this is a lot of brain burn in this tiny little, fairly simple, more than fairly simple, very simple rule set that really will crunch your brain in some interesting new ways. And if you're up for that challenge, definitely check this out. If tile laying, sort of route building, not really route building, but connecting a pathway through things is something that you tend to enjoy, definitely give this one a shot because, again, it's doing something I've never really done before and making me think in new ways. And that hurts, but it's also fun along the way. I hope this video was helpful for you too. If it was, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon below. There's also a link down below. Make sure you click that to go check this out on Kickstarter when it hits. If you're watching this as I post, it comes out next Tuesday. Otherwise, I hope you've caught the campaign. Definitely head over and see what there is. There's also one more game that I'm going to have a video coming for very shortly, hopefully next Monday if this goes as planned. So definitely check that out. Dual campaign, both games from Stephen Aramini. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon.